A system for good governance allows for fast decision-making for novel proposals, but also the ability to immediately change the enforcing of the decision once voters have changed their mind. As more information comes to light, as opinions clarify and solidify, the system gains stability, and decisions are harder but never impossible to overturn. The voting and judging process never stops. This is the kind of system that I will show you today, a system that can be used for artificial intelligence governance. This is a list of 8 proposals that live in a smart contract on a blockchain. These proposals govern how the system itself works. So let's add a new proposal for AI governance. And the proposal title is, "Should everyone interested be given the right to vote for every governance proposal?" This is the title of the proposal, and next we need to add a discussion URL. This is where voters can engage in how to create the various answers to this question. Next, we need to clarify our question. I already ran the question through an editor that uses WordNet and selected the appropriate word definitions. We can see that the words everyone and proposal have the synset ID included in this text. So for example, for the word proposal, we have synset ID 3. So this means we chose the third WordNet sense for the concept proposal. And this is the WordNet page for proposal. You can see the third sense is the act of making a proposal. This is the appropriate meaning for the question that we are asking. And now we can also add a summary for the question. And we can say that this proposal represents the voter view regarding the maximum possible inclusivity. And this means everyone, which is any human who wants to vote regardless of age or other characteristics. Documentation on this proposal can also be stored in a system that can provide a unique identifier based on the content of the proposal, like a decentralized storage mechanism such as the IPFS. Now, we also need to give an organizer address. This is our account ID, because we need to have some stake in the matter. So we have a system of points or tokens that measure the effort that we have done. And registering a governance proposal means giving some of those points because they will be awarded to the winning option. Because this is a continuous voting process, the winning option can change in time, so those points can be retracted and given to the new winning option, and so on. So this is how the organizer ID looks. And we also need to provide the point type. In this case, we will use AMITE, which is a generic type of token. But this is a multi-denomination point or token system. So for each domain and subdomain, we can define a type of point. For example, a proposal for the domain of education can be made using education points. Then only those with education points can vote. The system also has an exchange mechanism between types of points based on coefficients that are governed themselves and open to be voted on. The system can, for example, allow or disallow a voter to exchange points of type legal or of type engineering for points of type education, and this allows for fine-grained permissions and weighted voting. And you can see here a ratio, which is usually around 1.5 as a default, but this can be configured for each proposal. So let's see what this ratio is. If you look at this graph, you see the x and y axis and 3 slopes. The middle slope is just the middle line, but the other two, this one and this one, are determined by the ratio that we mentioned, which is x over y. Now this is a bidimensional case where we only compare two options, x and y. Think of it like a question with a yes and no answer. Yes is the x-axis and no is the y-axis. And we can see that here, initially, the x option won. At this point, all the votes were for the x option. If the current result between the x and y options is in area 1, then x wins. If it is in area 2, then y wins. Areas 3 and 4 do not have consequences in changing the outcome. So at this point in time, x won, but at this point in time, option y was the winning option, because votes for the y option started to come in. And finally, here, option x is the winning option again. And this can go indefinitely, but it becomes harder and harder to change the result unless previous voters change their mind. And this slope, the x and y ratio, is flexible. And this is just in 2 dimensions. We can add as many dimensions as we need, which means as many options as we need for one proposal. Each of these axes represent one different option. Now back to our proposal, and we'll set here the amount of points to 10,000. And now we can go here and register the proposal. The proposal was registered, and now we can go to the first page and we see our proposal in the list. And now we can click on it. We see the title, our discussion URL, our definition, and summary. Currently, we only have 2 options registered on this proposal, which are system generated. The first one is status quo, which means the outcome of this proposal should be the current status quo. Nothing should be changed. The second system-generated option is unenforceable, and this happens if the proposal is unenforceable for reasons including but not limited to being unclear, too broad, maybe it was already covered by previous proposals, or it's illegal, etc. So at this point, nobody has voted yet, so each proposal has a weight of 0. So let's add our first option, which can be a simple yes. Any human should be able to vote on any AI governance proposal regardless of age or other characteristics. Again, we need to set a beneficiary account. Now, this account will stake some points to be able to register this option, and the points will go to the winning option. This is the amount of points that we will stake, 10,000, and this counts as a weighted vote for this option. And we will set 0 arbitration points, this being the special type of points awarded for arbitration effort that have a bigger weight in the system. And now we will add this option that also casts a vote. The proposal, the options, are registered on a blockchain that I am running locally. This is for the purpose of this demo. And we can see the receipts from these transactions for registering the proposal and options here, along with the transaction hash for that transaction. And now if we scroll, we can see that our option has already appeared in the graph. Let's add another option with no. Voting on AI governance proposals should have a set of requirements that might differ for each proposal and target audience. There should be no absolute inclusivity. We will also stake on this 10,000 points. We propose and vote, and the option has appeared, and it is this one. So we have a color-coded system for each axis. We can see these two options are the system options, and then this is the yes option, the no option, and we will add one more option here. Yes with proxy delegated voting. Any human can vote, and or they can delegate their vote to a specialist. For example, children to their legal guardians. And our last option has appeared, which is here in blue, and we can see the yes option, the no option, and the yes with proxy or delegated voting, and we can vote on any one of these options. Let's cast an additional vote for the yes option for just 5,000. And now we can see here that our yes option has won. This inner circle here is the threshold at which the option yes has won, and our current number of aggregated votes is 25,000 points. So these numbers are the accumulated weight of each option from all the votes. 25,000 for option yes, and 10,000 for no and yes with delegated voting. And there's also a threshold here, which is a dashed line, and the value is 38,276. This is the threshold at which another winner will be determined. So for example, if we go and vote on the last option, and we will set 40,000 points, we should see that the last option becomes the winner. And indeed, now we have a second winner, which is this represented by the circle of the same color as option 5, the last option. Related to the essence of this very question, who should vote and how do you ensure trustworthiness in the governance system, we also have support for government-issued digital identities. And for this prototype, we present you with a demo of how you can register a blockchain account with the eID from the Estonian government. Now for the provable identity demo. This is a dApp for our wallet registry, and we can connect to our Estonian ID card from here, and I have mine plugged in. So the dApp connects to it and gets the public key from the card. And I will copy these public key values in the registration function. Now let's run the registration transaction. The transaction has finished, and now we have another transaction to finalize the registration. What we have done is register our current address with our Estonian ID card. So there is a link between my identity and this Mythos address that I am using right now. And I can add and remove addresses, I can renew and replace my card details, and more. Vox Populi, Vox AI.